button.
Smooth.
Hey, what's up, Kev? Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back, Wook
WSUX.
Plus.
Smooth jazz.
Smooth jazz on Wook Plus. Yeah, I don't know why I like this song. It's just such a funny way to start a Sunday show, a Sunday morning show.
It's a good way. Mellow vibes, Sunday vibes.
What's up, Sherman? How you doing, man?
Cold chilling, getting ready for the Thanksgiving.
Yes. Thanksgiving's coming up. I'm going to the in-laws. Well, my brother-in-law, but my in-laws are going to be there, and I'm prepping myself. I mean, I love
Right.
family and all, but Thanksgiving is such a stressful holiday, man. I don't know.
All right, you're coming through my state.
No, we're going up to Brooklyn. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're going up to Brooklyn. Nice.
Yeah. What about you? What's your plans?
Well, it was supposed to be me, my mom, and the girls, but now have my mom's boyfriend coming, my ex-wife, my ex-sister-in-law, her kids, her boyfriend, one of the kids' girlfriends. So
full house.
We went from 6 to like 12 in a matter of 30 seconds, and so yeah, now I'm working hard.
Yeah.
I got twice as much to do.
Hey, Skinny, Skunky, SE. Cool. We got a lot of the guys in tonight.
So let me ask you, if
Sure.
somebody is it okay to tell someone no one digs your side dish and you can just leave it home?
Depends. Yeah, I think in general, okay. The message is acceptable, but the delivery is dependent on who it is and who it's coming from. Right. Like if it was my brother, like if I was doing like a traditional family thing, I would just tell him straight up. I'd be like, yeah, dude, nobody digs this. Just like nobody eats it every year. Leave it alone. But like if it was my mom, I'd be more gentle about it, or have my sister do it, so I don't have to deal with the fallout.
You don't need to waste the $20 a year anymore on the green bean casserole, Mom. It's cool.
Yeah. Well, I think you could get creative and be like, hey, I'll take care of the sides this year, something like that, you know.
I was in the grocery store. I went in with my mom to get a ham and a turkey because she wanted to be there to supervise buying the turkey. So she says something about making her cream corn casserole. And I was like, I was thinking about making like maybe a Mexican street corn kind of thing. And she was like, that's fine. And turned around and walked away from me and got all pissed.
Well, now you know your answer. You shouldn't have done that. Cream corn casserole sounds pretty dope, though. I'd be all right. I
don't like it's too sweet. Way too sweet.
Yeah. I don't know. So what do you think's more stressful? Because past years, the last like 5 years, I don't mean to lead the witness. Like these might not be stressful to you, but like the last like 4 or 5 years, ever since we had Evie, I hosted. So I would cook, and my wife would do like desserts and like do the host stuff, but I was like the cook, right? I'd cook all the sides, I'd cook the turkey, and that was, I always thought, was one level of stress. But now this year, since we're traveling, it's like packing the kids off, getting all the shit. I'm not cooking, so I don't have that. But now I have to go, travel on Thanksgiving and do that whole thing. And I'm kind of thinking that hosting would have been the less stressful
with the kids, with the little one. I would have rather stayed home, especially with the newborn, than having to pack up the whole newborn's life in order to go somewhere else for the day. Because taking a baby is not easy. You got to take like half your trunk is filled with the baby carriage and the cart.
Hey, Chris. Good morning, man. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I mean, luckily, my brother-in-law and his partner, his wife, are awesome with Evie and the babies. So I'll have extra hands on deck, to help. But we'll see. I'm looking forward to a couple days off, though, having a nice thing. On Wednesday, actually, we're going to do a member stream. So you still have a chance. If you're not a member yet, you can join. It's like $2. But we're going to do a fun little Wednesday night at 9. Now, I guess there was confusion when we announced this on this past Wednesday. This isn't replacing Live. Like, this is just for Thanksgiving.
We figured a lot of people would be traveling, we know, on Wednesday. And I know a lot of kids have school half day and parents hit the road after.
So we're just going to do a real casual wooksgiving. We're not prepping a lot of, stuff, but we'll be back with Live the following week in our normal scheduled thing. So, hey, you want to talk about some of these headlines? I guess I got a request on Twitter for one. I hadn't known about this, but I looked it up after I saw it on Twitter, and it's a bummer. But I think it's an interesting conversation because of the part about. Well, here, let me tell you what happened. This is the request was for the fan that passed at a Taylor Swift show in Brazil. Um, and yeah, Sherman, the Wook Club will be still going Tuesday night. Uh, got a hell of a show. What was it? 95, right?
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's a good one. But yeah, so this pan pass, and it seemed because it was like record heat levels, and the venue didn't allow water. And I know that's kind of like a thing in some venues around here. Now, granted, not all venues. Some venues around here are pretty good about allowing water, and you could bring up to like what was it this past summer I saw? They allowed you to bring up to a gallon container
Yeah,
of water as long as it wasn't opened,
right.
which is sick. But like this is a big deal, and I feel like anytime it happens with Taylor Swift, like that gets more legs behind it. I feel like if it was like a smaller band, it wouldn't get momentum. But now that it happened, maybe this will become get more legs behind it. But I don't know. Did you see that? Did you hear about this story?
I did. Those shows down there are so huge. Like the Monsters of Rock they do. I don't know what that stadium or where they have these people play, but it holds so many people. And I don't understand why there isn't a law in place. I mean, I guess it's another country, but in America, you aren't allowed. Like we were at Disney World once and it was so hot, they had to give out free water to people,
Yeah.
because of Florida state law. I'm guessing that this was in Rio de Janeiro, right, in Brazil.
Yeah, it was in Rio.
So I guess they don't have that. I don't know. It freaks me out.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. I don't have a ton of information. I think no one does yet. I think the statement I saw is that, it happened. They're heartbroken. They released the statement. They
Right.
canceled the next
Well,
night. But
I heard Taylor's people were handing out water to people in the crowd.
yeah,
Like they were trying to, but I mean, if you have 250,000 people or something, how many,
yeah.
how are you going to hand out that many bottles of water
Are
or
the
even
shows
have
really
that
that
many?
big down there?
I think so. Yeah. I ever seem to remember the AC/DC Metallica Monsters of Rock was like 250,000 people.
I kind of like that approach, by the way, not to jump off the death because, but like you got to figure out a way to jump off of it at some point. We're not going to talk about it all morning, but I kind of always like that approach to ticket sales. Like we always talk about how like scalpers and supply and demand and like how shit jacks up. And it's like, just play venues bigger than your expectation. Who cares if the room's not sold out? Who cares? I know that business wise, that's not what they want to do because they want to drive demand and everything. But it's like, Fish could play bigger venues. I mean, I guess it's cost prohibitive, but like, I don't know, man. I feel like there's a way that you could set it up to where everyone could get a ticket and they could make just as much
Well,
money.
you know what Garth Brooks does? He keeps
Yeah,
adding shows.
he just schedules a couple and then it's on
Right, they
demand.
sell out. He adds another. If that sells out, he adds another until there's one that doesn't sell out, and then he's like, anybody who wants to buy a ticket to see the Garth Brooks show can buy a face value ticket.
That would be a very interesting experiment with our scene and like with like say like Dead and Co or Fish or something. That's like because people like when it's like when they make the plans, they plan. It's an addiction, right?
Right,
You like don't stop. You just keep going and going. I feel like I wonder how long people would make out. Like I guess you would be financially driven, but like like the people like just sell online and always figure out a way to get the next ticket. Like, you think they could just go indefinitely? Like the shows would just continue to fill up over and over again indefinitely?
I don't think Fish does now. I mean, they haven't sold out Madison Square Garden for New Year's yet.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I
but
don't
because of the
think
platinum though, the only tickets that aren't sold yet, all the regular price tickets sold instantly. Platinum was
so.
the
At
only thing
some
left.
point, the platinum tickets are going to revert to regular tickets.
Right, and that's why everybody's holding out. It's the same thing they say about like movies, the movie industry these days. A lot of people aren't spending the money, to go to the movies because all of them go to streaming, whether it's Disney or if it goes to Netflix
Right,
or Universal goes to NBC, the whatever that Peacock. So it's
right.
like it's the same thing, right? Like uh with the premium tickets, nobody's paying that shit because they know that it's not going to sell and they're just going to drop and get a re-release.
Right.
Um, yeah, no, Chris, I don't think I want to see him at the link or in a stadium. I think that's a good point too, because of like I do like the smaller, more intimate venues, but
Ooh. There
I
is
don't know.
something to be said for the Grateful Dead at RFK Stadium
Right, but
or at
they
JFK or
filled it
Veterans.
though.
Huh?
They would fill it though, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you could always get a ticket for RFK just walking around the lot. They might not have been at the, box office, but
Yeah, but I don't know if like a half empty stadium. Well, I guess because like the only times I've seen a concert in a football stadium was the Fare Thee Well, and that was fucking amazing. But it was like packed. But like I've been to a lot of baseball stadium shows, and I hate it. It sounds terrible. Like it's
right.
really really bad.
Football stadiums are a lot easier to make sound better because they're oblong, as opposed to what you're talking about. A baseball stadium is oddly shaped because a baseball field isn't a rectangle.
Right,
It's
right.
some weird, whatever you call that shape, polygon or, so the stadiums are not built.
Oh, this is
There's
a
going to
good
be a lot
point.
more echoes, than where when they played RFK and they could phase the speakers halfway back on the field.
Well, the other thing too about the baseball ones is they're never allowed to be on the infield, so they always have it blocked off. So you have a weird gap
Empty
where and
space on the floor, right?
right, and the stands feel even further back, even if it's technically the same distance as a football stadium. You just feel so detached from the experience. That's another thing about the Garth Brooks model is like if Fish did that, would they switch up the set list every night? I mean, I guess in theory, well, yeah, because even if they played the same songs and repeated, they could still do a different order. I guess they could go indefinitely with a different set list every night.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I probably, if I had the means, I would. I'm addicted enough to where I think I would go indefinitely, and I'd probably like piss off a lot of people in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
Jesse has a question for
yes,
you.
SC, I was. My buddy, we we took a bus down there. We were on this bus trip, and this guy like starts flipping out when we get stuck in traffic because he had drank this orange juice that had all these 10 strips floating in it. And
Did he
everybody
know
saw
they
this
had
guy.
strips in it?
Oh yeah, everybody
Okay.
saw this. This was like at noon. The jug gets passed around and everybody on the bus but me drinks it. By the time we got to the lot, that was the weirdest bus ever, and nobody could even like talk to each other. Everybody was completely out in left field. So I went up to the guy who had it and I was like, "You got a couple of them you can just give me so I don't have to deal with the orange juice." But
I was gonna
yeah.
say the only thing weirder than tripping at a show is being the only person not.
Right, and watching everyone and this bus trip was so great because they had, like, plates of steamed shrimp that they put out when we got there, like, this whole buffet, and I was the only one who ate because
Well, yeah.
everybody else
Would
was
you?
incapable.
I would not touch seafood on a head full or any
And I
food
walked
really,
up to my
but
buddy, I was like, "Dude, you want some shrimp?" And I knew those shrimp were just, like, moving around on the
was it at least pre-peeled or did it actually look like, when you get
Oh, no, you
the
had to peel them, yeah, no, they were
yeah,
peel and eat, yeah.
yeah. Lot shrimp. That's the good shit. That's
Yes,
the good
lot shrimp,
shit.
the original lot shrimp.
Oh God. That's gross. Hey, so what was this story? What was this thing going on in Europe? American rail riders making us proud.
Oh, yeah, I saw that on Reddit. Apparently, some woman, was on the floor and tried to walk up to the rail, and she said
This was at Billy Strings.
at Billy Strings. Yeah, and as we know, at the rail there is always room,
There
but
should be.
people make it so I have to have a full space and a half with my arms stretched out. This woman tried to walk up just to get a peek of Billy. She was shorter, apparently,
Yeah.
from what she said, and she got called all kinds of names. She got elbowed, she got pushed back by the Americans, is what she referred to them as, all 45 to 55.
Right.
So I can totally see these people doing this, and I
Yeah, we
just
know these people.
right, I don't get it. I said to you before we started, back in in 3.0, I only went to Merriweather shows, so I was not that much into the scene. At most, I'd
Right.
walk around the lots for an hour with my kid or something if
Right.
I took them. But and I had trouble with the rail riders when I went in 21 because I didn't realize the culture that they have, but it's very territorial. And I feel like
Yeah.
that
That's
You
not
know,
just. I don't think that's the right word. I mean, it is territorial, but it's also like, what's the word? Like elitist and like
hubris.
entitled. Yeah. There's a hubris to it. There's an entitlement to it.
Mhm.
I feel like last time we talked about it, I was trying to be more diplomatic about like rail riders and shit. Just because, like, I know a couple people that ride rails that are like nice and welcoming, and I
Maggie is
feel
the
like
greatest person
right, like
ever.
Maggie is the sweetheart, but I feel like that's an outlier. And now I'm going back on it. Fuck that culture, man. Fuck the whole toxic, entitled, hubris, elitist bullshit, rail riding nonsense. Like we don't need that. It's just completely gotten so far out
Could
of
could
control.
fish could fish stop it and
Uh,
just have the gates open at the regular time for everyone, whether or not? Or do you think that they don't do it because they're afraid of like a Who situation back in '81 when they opened the general seating on the floor and people got trampled?
Yeah, I mean the Who situation's interesting because Crowd Crush has a lot of dynamics to it. But you're right, timing of letting people in is one of the major factors that leads towards it. I think they could say something. I don't think there's an easy like wave of the wand, fix everything. And Fish will never release statements because that's just not how they do anything, which is ironic because I feel like a lot of their fan base is all about, you know. But I feel like if they were like, hey, encourage everybody to get in, and I don't know. I don't know what they could. I don't fucking know, man.
You're right, my man. American is the word. I was saying why, ugly Americans got to come over and mess up everyone's vibe.
I feel like that's true, right? It is a very American thing, but I don't know, like because I've my sister-in-law lives in Andorra, and her in-laws, they're all European, and they're like, wow, you're not American at all. Like when they talk, because we're all super chill and everything. Like maybe we're overweight, so that's the only American thing, right? They're like, oh, you look
You
like
like
Americans.
McDonald's.
Right. They're
I
like, you
know
look like
you.
Americans, but you don't act like Americans. And then like, so the whole thing is like, I feel like the minorities, like there's like few groups that are very outlandish and act badly that create a very negative image and connotation for the rest of us. But I guess that's how it is for everybody. I don't know.
Yeah.
So is Billy fans bad all the time? This wasn't like a one-off thing.
Yeah, apparently that's what Chris is saying too. I mean, I've only seen Billy once, and I was on the lawn at Pier 6, so I have no concept of what went on in the pavilion or anywhere
Yeah,
but my little world out there.
it's wild, man. Oh
It's
well,
wild.
she should have known better. You don't encroach on the rail.
I
Out of
feel bad. I feel bad for her because she's never going to go see Billy again, and she apparently likes him. And I feel bad for Billy because he's going to lose fans because of these people's behavior. It's going to turn other people off who, you know.
Yeah. No, all right. So to put a point on it, fuck that culture. You don't need to be a dick on the rail. On the flip side of it, because I do want to just say this, being on the rails is not that great. Like it sounds like shit. The culture
You're
is
under the
toxic.
speakers, right?
Yeah. Your neck hurts, you can't see great, you don't get the impact of the lights, it doesn't sound good. So like at the same time, while I'm like, hey, people up front, like be welcoming and inviting and don't be assholes. I would tell people that are like interested in it that it's really not all it's cracked up to be. And just if you want a good spot, get near the soundboard. Like right in front of the soundboard is ideal. You get
Right.
everything.
How much do you think it's trying to get FaceTime with the band?
For some people, sure. I mean, you could tell too when you watch on the web because we've been doing a lot of webcasting, you and I, right? This whole year. You
Yeah.
could tell the people that are like performing for the band and then like the spun out wook that's just having the time of their life. And I'm like, yeah, that's the person. They
Right.
get it, right? And it's super obvious, but like, I mean, whatever.
Do you think the band gets sick of seeing the same people?
Absolutely. I don't know. I bet they like seeing Maggie bounce up and down. Although it probably is annoying during like leaves or something. They're like playing this like beautiful, gentle song, and she's just like, boom, boom.
Right.
I don't know, man. I think they probably get sick of seeing the same people, but I also don't know if they care, that
Right.
much.
As he mentioned, did you see Goose? Jeff did close his account down on Twitter.
Oh, good.
Yes.
I'd like to take responsibility for that.
Right. And it was a stupid comment. And I'll say what I said the other night, SC, from a business standpoint, you just don't do that. Social media accounts when you're in a band and you're running a business are to promote your band and to make nice with the fans, not try
And
to be
not just
witty, try to be cute, because
try to
it's going to
slip into
backfire.
DMs. I mean, he
Yeah.
already had a rough reputation, and if anyone else had said it, I was not that offended by the joke. Like honestly, I didn't think it was a big deal, and I think the Twitter reaction was a little much. But because I mean, there is another standard. I feel like I mean,
Mhm.
that's
Oh,
how it is.
definitely.
You
I
know,
always made a joke at one point, the roof leaked. And I always joke that when it rained, I was like, I need to go fix the roof. But when it wasn't raining, it didn't leak, so I didn't think about it.
yeah,
It's the same kind of thing with what he was making that joke. If
yeah.
you don't take the test, you'll never know you have the
Right,
code.
right, exactly. And it wasn't even an original joke. I mean, that back in 2020, 2021, it was over and you saw it everywhere.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
Also, I think there was a little bit of hubris there too, because I feel like anyone that's spent any time on fish Twitter or goose Twitter knows there's just things you don't say because you're going to get railroaded. And whether that's right or wrong, is a whole different conversation. I'm not saying you should, but like I know there's things that I'm not going to say publicly because I don't want to fucking deal with it. And I think he felt like, oh, I'm a awesome drummer in a really popular band. I could get away with everything, and he didn't realize that like half the people on there didn't even care for the music. And even the people that like Goose, half of them aren't wild about Jeff.
Uh,
So
Did you get to hear any of Jeff when he played with Dwayne Betts' Pamlico Sound band,
no, was
Dwayne
that
Betts
recently?
solo? Yeah, recently he sat in. He was the drummer for the little mini tour of 5 or 6 shows.
How'd it
Full
sound?
kit. Yeah, it sounded incredible. He was playing the Allman Brothers stuff. I mean, Dwayne does a couple Allman tunes every
Yeah.
night. Does all his solo stuff, some of the Allman Betts stuff, and
No, I
yeah,
know
he
he's a hell of a musician because I've seen him he can play stringed instruments and he can sing. And I personally, my thoughts on him was never about his musicianship. It was the way they utilize him and the way he got into the band, like late after they broke. And they keep him tuned down in the mix. I don't know how many Goose shows you've gone to, but like they keep him way low in the mix. So unless he's hitting a fucking gong, you can't even hear him in the room.
right.
Oh wait.
I think Ben
Oh,
played
that
with
was
UM.
Ben.
Yeah, I think Ben played with UM with Humphreys.
I love Ben. I don't think Ben is a phenomenal kit player, but I like him a lot. I like, you know what? Because he's one of the few drummers I've seen develop in front of us,
Mhm.
right? Like if you go back and listen to early Goose, out of all the people in Goose, he's improved the most. And you could
Mhm.
tell he's putting the work in, right? He's grinding it out and getting better, and you could see the development, and it's cool. I like seeing that.
I think him sitting in with Goose for those shows him sitting in with Humphreys for those shows and having to learn that catalog helped him because Chris Myers is a very propulsive, fierce drummer. So he had to throw some of that in. And I feel like that's
Me
coming out
too.
now with what they're doing.
Gabriel, I kind of agree with you. I was really I actually interviewed Goose like what was that 3 or 4 years ago?
19. Yeah, it was in 19.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2019. I interviewed him and I was like really into it. And then I met more and more Goose fans, and I was like, I'm okay. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Good for them. I don't want to hate anymore. I don't want to have a stream full of hate.
Yeah, no, I'm happy for them. It really, as
I'm
I've
glad
always
he's off
said,
Twitter for his own sake too. It's probably good. Step away from it.
right? Seeing them live, I have such a good time. I'm never gonna throw them one when I'm home. But I don't
No.
even throw Fish one unless Fish is playing a live show or we're doing the Wook Club. You
Yeah, that's
know,
weird to me. I don't know.
there's so much other music to listen to, man. Every day
Yeah,
somebody puts out something new.
yeah, yeah. That's true.
mean, I'm searching for the perfect song, I guess.
You know what I've been listening to a lot this weekend? I'm not afraid to admit it. A lot of Christmas music. We're
Yes.
we're getting in the season this weekend.
When you have kids, I didn't listen to Christmas music ever until I had kids, and then I
Yeah.
started listening to it, and they loved it so much that Then you start trying to find the cool stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, like my favorites are like the Bing Crosby, Bowie duet. I love that one, or like Linus and Lucy.
Well,
Oh,
we got into
I
the
would love
weird.
to go see Herbie Hancock on tour.
Well,
That'd be sick. Sorry, go ahead.
we got into things like the Merry Christmas polka and Here Comes Santa in a Red Canoe. We started finding all these like
Oh,
bizarre
going real
Christmas
deep
songs.
cut. Yeah.
Dominic the Donkey.
Oh yeah, we listen to that.
Dominic the Donkey. Do you know the story behind that
Hippopotamus for
song?
Christmas.
You
What's
know,
the story?
apparently some crime family. The guy who sang it, his brother or his cousin ran one of New York's crime families. So it was a mob thing, that album, that single.
Oh yeah, Dominic the donkey, right? Like a mule, like a drug mule, or like that. You gotta say it with that accent, and then you get it. You're like, oh yeah,
They
Dominic.
paid the money and it got him famous. You got to have the money. I mean, Taylor's dad gave what, $300,000 to invest in some record company that was the record company that released Taylor's first album.
Yeah, smart investment, man. But you need money to make it, I guess.
You do.
I'm
You get one
liking
shot.
yeah. I like the timing that we're doing this year, because last year I was just like, I had this rule in my head, this fictional rule that I can't start Christmas until after Thanksgiving, right? Because that's like, there's always this pushback against like the corporate holiday, like moving everything early. So, I thought I was like doing the righteous thing, but then like I was burnt out after Thanksgiving from all the cooking and shit. So I didn't decorate that weekend. So it went another week. And then by the time we got all the shit up, there was only like 2.5 weeks to like enjoy it. And I just felt like it rushed through, and like, I don't know. I'm glad we're getting it done now.
When the girls were little, they had half a day on Wednesday from school. So we would do all the Christmas decorations the night before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So then it was up for the whole time. This year, I've already brought up half the tree because we got the kitten and we wanted to acclimate the kitten, but she's already decided to climb up inside the trees. So I don't
tree's
know.
Getting pulled down at some point.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get some like heavy duty fishing string and like tie it and like anchor it to the wall, I guess.
I'm gonna look up that Herbie Hancock tour when we get off. I think.
I wonder who's gonna be drumming. Whether he's gonna get Mike Clark out there with him again.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I was thinking about putting up a tree back here. I got my drums back there, but I'm not gonna have a ton of time in December.
Right.
It make me feel festive when I'm working and streaming and shit, having a tree in here. Yep. What else is going on? Anything else new?
Nah.
Chad, you guys see anything new going on in life? Anything you want to share with the crowd? Oh, what about that NASA thing? That was interesting. Did you get to listen to that?
No, I did not listen to it. But what they took actual data from stars and translated it to music.
Yeah, it's sick. I don't know. You think I could share a minute of it, or will we get popped?
Well, if we get popped, we'll just make it go mute later.
Right. I mean, what's the worst thing that happens, right?
I mean, if it's from NASA, we paid for it.
Right. Tell me if you can hear it, because
yeah.
So this is music that they composed with data from the telescope. It's kind of cool. Nice and dissonant. This would make a good soundtrack for a movie or something.
As I've gotten older, I'm much more receptive to this kind of stuff.
Well, that's good. It's all those Type 2 jams you've been listening to. This is like one of those memes of like what non-fans hear when they listen to Fish.
I think that is a bassoon, Christian. And a flout.
That is a bass clarinet. It's a single reed. A bassoon is a double reed. So that's a contrabass clarinet. That's a violin, and that's a cello. And that's a flute.
And the man on the vibes.
That's a grand piano, baby grand. That's cool.
It is.
That's what space. So I guess this is what space sounds like.
This is.
Oh shit! I almost.
You almost ended us.
Yeah, I almost closed the stream. I hit the wrong button. Thank God it had a warning window. It's like, are you sure you want to leave? Ted would just be there
I had
by
the cat
himself.
walk. I was watching some video on Twitter yesterday. The cat walked across the keyboard and blocked the person.
Oh
Like the
no!
key she stepped on, it made it block the person. So I was like, that sucks because I liked them. I liked following them. So yeah, I went back and fixed it. But doing that, they unfollowed me, and I guess they'll never realize.
My YouTube is getting super toxic all of a sudden because like I watch a lot of like Marvel stuff, right? Like New Rock Stars and like all those guys, just because like I'm a nerd. But with the whole Marvels thing, there's just like all these like I don't know how many, like hundreds and hundreds of accounts that are just like, oh, the world's on fire, Marvel sucks, women suck, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, I hate it because YouTube was like my sanctuary, right? All the toxicity was on like Facebook and Twitter and Insta, and like now it feels like it's coming in. I don't know. You gotta curate that shit though, right? I feel like there's some level of
people
curation.
complain about their Twitter feeds, and I have mine on following, and I've blocked and muted so many people and words that I only see what I want to see, basically. And if someone posts like starts retweeting some political shit, I just mute them, and they're done.
Yeah. Hey, I was like, hey, maybe if we just like mention MCU, we could have a quick little tag at the end of this stream. Yeah, I think that they're still going to have it as a subplot. I think what they're moving away from, and what at least what I would do is move away from Kang being the big bad of the whole saga. And honestly, that makes sense because for Secret Wars, it needs to be Doom. It should have always been Doom. Like, there's no other way to do it proper. And I feel like they've gotten into like rewriting classics, but they're not writing them well. So why switch it up? Like, if you're going to reimagine or rewrite a classic storyline, at least enhance it. But if you're just going to change it for the sake of changing it, like, what's the point? That's where people get disenfranchised, is because, well, like Secret Invasion is a perfect example. You use the IP that gets everybody excited, and then you turn in that, and then people are like, I don't trust you anymore. I'm not going to go see it. I don't like Kang that much, though. I'm kind of glad that they're moving. I mean, I think they need to pay off a lot of the shit they set up. Otherwise, it would feel like the last couple of years have been wasted. At the same time, I think the faster you get into the mutants and the faster you get into Doctor Doom and the Fantastic Four, the better off everyone will be and the happier everyone will be.
I agree.
Yeah. I don't know. I've run out of things to talk about, but I don't want to leave yet. I'm having a good time. I like hanging out with all you guys. I love these Sunday morning streams. These are so much fun.
Are your Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing today?
I don't know, man. I haven't paid attention to football in way
Since
too
Tom
long.
left.
Yeah. Well, no, I kind of stopped right before Tom left, and I was like, yeah. Oh, hold on. I don't know if this is common knowledge or not, Gabriel, but Silver Surfer is my favorite character. I don't collect the Funko Pops, by the way. This is the only one I have. He is by far my favorite character. I hope they don't do him dirty. They play the Niners today. Skinny, how are the Bucks looking this year? Are they good? They suck. Chris, they are not running out of characters in Marvel. They haven't even begun to touch into any of the mutants yet. Or well, they really, I would say, fucking, well, I guess you can't use the Spider-Verse, but no, I would say they probably have like 60% of their characters left. But the problem is like they shouldn't go that deep into their catalog anyway, though. Nobody wants to go and see, the bust out. Yeah, I want to see Jubilee. I think they got to hit main. They got to hit. Sorry, I'm all over the place. They got to hit the animated X-Men, those characters. You need a Gambit focus. You need Cyclops focus. You need obviously Wolverine. You need Beast. You need Jubilee. You need Rogue, and you need Storm. I think those are the ones. They shouldn't go too deep into the X-Men. They got to stay focused on those animated ones and then build out from there.
Do we get the characters like Juggernaut?
I don't think in a while because Deadpool's coming over and he just did Juggernaut in Deadpool 2. So I feel like that
He's out. Oh, Juggernaut's probably out for the rest of the.
yeah. I'm trying to juggle between the Bucks and Marvel, and my brain is just like, like the Bucks aren't terrible. That's good. That's good to hear. Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
I'll start watching again.
I have somebody from the Bucks on my fantasy team, Chris Godwin, but I'm probably sitting him today. He doesn't have a good matchup.
See the Magneto thing, Chris, I'm really torn about because I like Patrick Stewart's Xavier, and I'm glad they brought him in. And I like Ian McKellen's Magneto, but Fassbender's Magneto was just I feel like it better encapsulated, especially now with how old McKellen is. Like it better
Well,
encapsulates the strength of Magneto and the badassery of him. So I would
it,
love to see Fassbender's Magneto, but I feel like then you can't. You gotta. It's like in a different time period. I don't know. But hey,
what
it's the
about
multiverse. You could pull them
wasn't
together.
in Secret Wars? Doesn't Magneto live on Mutant Island or whatever?
Yeah, he has his own his own territory with his own army.
Yeah.
He was pretty instrumental in it. You use Fassbender for Secret Wars, and then you recast after the soft reboot, I think, or you use Ian McKellen during Secret Wars and then recast. Yeah, well, that's the nice. I agree, and that was the big question, Chris, coming out of, or when we first heard that Disney bought Fox and the X-Men were coming back. Before we knew about the multiverse, we're like, well, how do you do Magneto with the Holocaust? Because that's such an intricate, fundamental part of his character. But if they're going into 2025, you can't really do the same thing. But the good thing is with the multiverse, you could pull people out of time. Like I think they're going to pull the Fantastic Four out of the 60s, and you could do the same thing, because Fassbender, what was that? That was the 70s, I guess. His
Mhm.
characters like in the first class, so you could pull him into modern day. Because you can't rewrite. Like people were wondering, like, can you rewrite Magneto for like a modern day conflict? But I think like his Jewish heritage and the Holocaust survivor aspect is so fundamental to his character. If they rewrote that, they would be. I mean, I think that would be the nail in their coffin. I think
Right.
a lot of people would be
Or
pissed.
do
All
they
right,
gloss over it? Do they just gloss over it?
they don't even do an origin story. I mean, that's kind of how they
Yeah.
did Spider-Man. You
Right.
just have this, leader of the
He
mutants, and they don't
exists.
even tell anything about it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Or they
All right, maybe,
rewrite it like you said and roll the dice.
I think they're gonna go back to a lot of the old characters, though. I think initially Feige was like, I want to, rebuild all these X-Men and stuff, but their lack of success they've had developing new characters and losing the hubris of everything they touch becoming gold. I think they're going to rely on the heavy hitters for a little bit, bring in like Hugh Jackman for a while, not just a one off, try to get, RDJ back, and lay into like the classics for a bit. And then maybe after the reboot, they'll start to recast some of them, but I don't think they're looking to do everything brand new.
Nope. We do get some cool what ifs coming up for Christmas, so
Those look sick. Those
yeah,
look
that'll
super
be
sick. I'm
fun.
excited about that. I like that show. That was a fun show.
That was.
Oh, we're gonna do some what ifs too.
Are we?
I don't know. We'll talk
Has
about
somebody
it.
won that? Has Llama won that?
I don't know.
He got
Hopefully.
mad because I was playing with the AI.
Oh yeah. I want to do that bit because you can use AI to recreate voices. So I want to get it to recreate your voice and then
Right.
write things for you to say. Have you argue
Exactly.
with yourself?
Right. It's time for Brad and Chad finally.
Yeah. Well, a completely AI generated version of Brad and Chad Llama would be so
Yeah.
pissed. Have
Dude, that's
AI
not what I wanted.
have the AI write it, narrate it, and animate it, and whatever we come up with.
Yep.
Have-
Oh man.
All right, guys, I'm gonna call it there. Yeah, we talked about that on Wednesday, Gabriel. Somebody told me it looked like the state of Vermont. And I was like, that could be. I don't know. I think it's It's gonna be interesting. So we didn't talk about that on Wednesday, or maybe we did. But the big point of Glasgow's thing was he was like, you got to be there on New Year's, and I feel like as a tour manager, he probably says that every year, but it did give me a little bit of a hype for it. I mean, I'm not going. We'll be watching it here and recapping it afterwards, but I am super duper excited to see what they do. All
I
right,
am
now should we go? What do you think?
Now we're going. Yeah, I got to start. I got to do some football.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys next time. Wednesday night, member stream. Tuesday night, we're going to do the Wook Club. And, yeah, see you next time.
Have a great Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Thanks, Kev.